Pure College Radio, once again, back here on the GioMoShow. Giovanni Moscieri on the mic here in the studio here at the Oakland Center. And finally, we're getting to your football therapy. The doctor is here to give you that football therapy that you so desperately need and that I need as well. This is a shared session between me and you. So we had a fantastic week 4 of NFL football. We're going to talk about it, but we got to right away get to the Lions and Packers game. It was literally 7 days ago. It feels like an eternity ago. We're already talking about Jameson Williams coming back for the Panthers game. We're already talking about the matchup against the Panthers and even games afterwards. But we can't not talk about the Packers game. You kidding me? This game was awesome. Lions beat the Packers in Lambeau on primetime Thursday night, 34-20, and it wasn't even that close. So I'm going to highlight stats for you. The Lions, they got to Jordan Love. They sacked him 5 times for 43 yards of loss. They held the Green Bay Packers to 27 yards rushing on 12 carries. So not only was it an inefficient 2.3 yards per carry for the Packers, but they only got 27 yards on it, and they turned away from that. Obviously, they were missing Aaron Jones at full strength, and it was just A.J. Dillon, but the Lions literally have currently the best rushing defense in the NFL. That is crazy. That's what we thought our weakness was coming into this season with the free agency add-ons and the draft picks that we had, boosting up our secondary. We thought that was going to be our strength in the run, and we were going to get run down our throats. Not so. The exact opposite is happening. We have the fewest allowed rushing yards in the league. It's crazy. We held the Falcons, who at a time had one of the best rushing attacks in the league, held them to like 70, which is nothing to sneeze at. And we follow that up with 27 yards rushing allowed. It's insane. Getting to some of the other stats. Well, I guess while we're talking about the Lions defense, let's get to it. Brian Branch leading the Lions in tackles again. 7 total tackles, 5 solo, and a pass deflection to Boone. And he got injured this game. He got hurt and sat out for a lot of this game. And he still racked all that up. Amazing. Amazing. John Kaminsky, he got a sack. He got a tackle for a loss. Alex Anzalone got a pass deflection that landed in the hands of Jerry Jacobs, one of 2 interceptions that he had in this game. Lee McNeil had a sack and 2 tackles for a loss. Aiden Hutchinson, 1.5 sacks and a tackle for a loss, 3 QB hits. Charles Harris got in on the action. He had the half sack. Isaiah Buggs cracked it open with the first sack of the game early in the game. For a total of 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 6 pass deflections, and 11 QB hits. Jordan Love was under duress. He was stressed out. He was under attack, and there was nothing the Packers could do to stop it. I want to stay on the defense. We'll get into the Lions offense in a little bit, but I want to talk about the complete and night and day shift that the Lions have had on defense from the game against the Seahawks until now. I don't know what specifically is the difference that was made on Aaron Glenn's defense to have this insane of a change this suddenly and effectively. But I have a few guesses. Isaiah Buggs coming back, man. I don't know why, and I'm not gonna start speculating, but Isaiah Buggs did not play the first 2 games of the season. I don't know why. But he wasn't there. But once he came back against the Falcons, dude, that's when it clicked. That's when it was that suffocating defense. That's when it was the only 70 yards allowed rushing on the Falcons and 27 allowed against the Packers. Buggs coming back. That's when it happened. What else happened? Well, C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down against the game against the Seahawks, and Brian Branch was given a star role in the defense. What did he start out with? He started out with 11 solo tackles and plenty of, a few sacks, tackles for loss, big hits, a couple penalties taken for such big hits. So Brian Branch coming in, he does that against the Falcons. He does the 7 tackles, the 5 solo tackles, pass deflection against the Packers. So could it be just the combination of Isaiah Buggs and Brian Branch being added to this defense that's contributing to this insane change? It seems like it. The chronological order of events seems to suggest that. And what an addition those guys have been. Bringing the energy, bringing the juice. I loved Isaiah Buggs. I remember that big, at home last year against the Vikings. I remember that huge tackle for loss that he had when the Vikings were on the goal line. And he just brings the energy. He's one of the veterans, and especially needed in the interior. He's a great addition. I love Buggs, dude. And Branch, like we talked about before, he brings the juice. He brings that chip on his shoulder from being a second-round pick instead of a first-round, which is insane, which is a steal. The Packers could have had Brian Branch. That's how the draft day trade worked out, is we got Green Bay's pick. Turned out to be Brian Branch. And, dude, it's fun having an awesome defense again. I remember I was little. I remember when it was Ziggy Ansah. I remember when it was DeAndre Levy. I remember when it was, Darius Slay and Quandre Diggs and the gang, the Ndamukong Suh. I remember all that stuff. I was so young, so I don't remember it so clearly, but those guys were animals. And that was really the last time we had such a great defense. I think that was 2014, which is 9 years ago. Ouch. But now that we kind of have something similar again, obviously it's not as violent or bad boyish. It's not Ndamukong Suh led, but dude, having a good defense is awesome. And it's you can rely on it, and it changes how you play offense. You don't have to go for it on fourth down all the time because you're worried of us giving up stuff. You can rely on the defense to make a stop and to give you good field position and to do what they did against the Packers, which was allow no offense, force them to punt. You get the punt at your own 40-yard line, and you just cruise down for a touchdown on short fields. That's what a good defense does. It's awesome. Why is Jared Goff? Jared Goff is credited with a tackle in this game. I can't remember if that was off his pick or not. Craig Reynolds too. I guess that was on special teams, but yeah, Jared Goff can tackle, and he can run too. Moving on now to the Lions' offense, I want to talk about in this game against the Packers. David Montgomery, man, was the ox. Now I won't say workhorse. Dude is an ox. Coming off of an injury, and it was last week it was Jahmyr Gibbs who had a majority of the carries, and you have David Montgomery coming back. Short week. You know what I mean. Still coming off of an injury, dude. They gave him the ball 32 times for 121 yards, 3.8 yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns. It was awesome. It's awesome to have David Montgomery. The dude is a game record. The dude is an ox. He can run it in between the tackles. He loves running in between the tackles. He's shifty. He's hard to take down. He is just a big, mean, bash and gash runner. I love it. And personally, I don't care that Jahmyr Gibbs is not getting carries. I don't care. It's not a big deal. It's a piece for the future. It's coming eventually, Jahmyr Gibbs. And he had 8 carries for 40 yards. Pretty good anyway. It's but why did you draft him so much if you're not going to use him? Who says we have to use him? And who says that we have to use him now? That's my feelings on it. And he's going to come eventually, man. They're not going to not use him ever. But when David Montgomery is working, and when he is playing in a game where it's his first Packers win ever, and dude, if it's working, go for it. Give it to him 32 times. Obviously, the Packers couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't stop him from scoring. I remember one of the replays. I can't remember which touchdown it was. Dude Montgomery ran into 3 Packers defenders and still scored on the goal line. Why do you have to give it to Gibbs if that's what's working? If that's the game plan? So I don't get the whole worry and shock and all that stuff about Jahmyr Gibbs not getting that much use. It's coming, man. He's got to prove to be reliable, and he's got to get comfy. He has the opportunity to get comfy. He doesn't have to do what Bijan's doing. Bijan, I mean, he's a special talent. Obviously, that guy is worth the draft pick that he was at. And he even gets to split carries with Tyler Algier. We saw that against the Lions. Didn't work well against us, but it's a luxury to not have to be the guy immediately. So let's ride out the luxury. Let's use it. He gets to learn how to run between the tackles more against, alongside somebody who is awesome at it. So I'm rambling. Let's move on. But Gibbs is going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Receiving now, Sam Laporta, dude, is still here. 4 catches for 56 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown doing his thing with a steel plate in the shoe. 5 receptions, 56 yards, a touchdown. It's just, dude, it was a sweet game, man. Jared Goff, 1 touchdown. He had that interception obviously earlier in the game, and that goes to the chronology of the game. And at this point, after a week, I'm not going to get into the play-by-play and flow of the game. You guys know what happened, but Goff throws an interception right away. I thought we were screwed. Turns out we're not. He immediately said, "Okay, there's your interception. You couldn't do anything with it, and you're not getting another in the game, at least." But that's what it felt like. It's like, okay, Goff got out of his system, and he let him have it, the Packers. So we talked a lot about this game, and there's a couple points that I do still want to make. Just the fact that not only do we beat the crapper... Hear what I almost said? Beat the crappers, which I meant to say beat the crap out of the Packers, but they both fit the bill. But we demoralized them. Their coach is quoted in saying they whipped and manhandled us. That is awesome, dude. When is the last time that you've heard any team admit that they were whipped and manhandled at home on prime time? Except the Giants. But I don't know if they quite said it verbatim. But it's like, yeah, when you hold, I think in the first half, Danny Rogers tweeted out a screenshot of the stats. Lions with 196 yards of offense. At the time, I think it was like in the second quarter, Packers had 1 yard of offense. So just demoralizing our rivals, finally having it be our turn. Hutchinson was quoted and he said, "Rodgers is out of the division. Life is good. Life is good." I agree with that. And it was such a fun game to watch, man. It was just so much fun. And I hate to hate on particular players, but dude, number 7 for the Packers, dude, 2 home games in a row, or 2 Packer home games in a row, has done something stupid. We'll call it stupid. That contributed to them losing to the Lions at home. Last year, Week 18, do you guys remember? He just shoved a trainer when one of the Lions players were injured and the Lions trainers were coming out. He just shoved them. He got kicked out of the game for that. He was crying in the locker room, hitting his thighs like, "Man, oh man, why did I do that?" I don't know, dude. Why did you do that? And then in this game, on a field goal attempt, jumps over or makes contact with this long snapper, something to that nature, and basically gives the Lions an extra chance at the drive, which turned into a touchdown. That was like a nail in the coffin touchdown. So that dude is a bird brain. I think I've heard someone else call them that. I would happen to agree, but please continue it. Make it a tradition. We'll see you on Thanksgiving, number 7. Now let's get into, while we're on the Lions topic, we'll cover the Carolina game a little bit. We do have to get into the NFL Week 4 scoreboard, and we got to get to my picks. I got to make these picks live with you guys on air. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to stay tuned for that. We're coming up on time here on the GioMo Show. Got about 15 minutes left. We'll talk about the Panthers a little bit. There's not a whole lot to talk about. Panthers are one of the few teams that are still winless in the league. Obviously, they're starting fresh. They got a rookie quarterback. They got them some weapons. Things aren't looking so hot. And, I mean, it's going to come with that, you know. So the 0-4 Panthers visiting the Lions. And the Lions, this is a revenge game for us. For them, it's still us. But it's a revenge game. Can you guys remember during our, 10-2 run or 8-2 run last season? One of those two games, one was Buffalo on Thanksgiving. The other one was to Carolina, where they rushed a literal franchise record on us in the first half. They put 300 yards of rushing on us. Out of nowhere. That's when our defense was really holding up and doing well. And we just kind of randomly, the wheels just came off. And it was weird. Lions players were slipping all over the place. And no, Giovanni, no field excuses. It was still weird, but no field excuses. But that's what set the stage for this game this week against the Panthers. Not only are the Lions coming off a long week, they played Thursday. They didn't play this Sunday because of it, and now they get 10 days in between games to get ready for the 0-4 Panthers. So it should be a convincing win. It should be what everyone is expecting it to be. Because given the evidence in the first quarter of the season, why would we think any different? So not a whole lot to talk about this game. It's going to be revenge. It's going to be sweet. And it's going to be awesome. We'll get into that in my picks coming up real soon. But let's walk through the NFL scoreboard for Week 4. So, like I mentioned, Lions 34-20 against the Packers. Falcons and Jaguars, they played in London in a Toy Story game. That was kind of weird, but it's for kids. Jaguars win at basically home, 23-7 against the Falcons. Desmond Ridder, wheels are coming off. Wheels are falling off on that one. Not looking so hot for the Falcons quarterback. Then in the game of the week, honestly, Dolphins at Bills. This one was awesome to watch. This one was fireworks all around. And I thought it was okay, the Dolphins have an opportunity to go 4-0 to beat the Bills at home in a warm game. This was late September, and they get a chance to play at Buffalo instead of when it's cold out, Maybe you'll still have to play them in the playoffs in the cold, but same thing with the Lions. We got to play the cold weather team in a warm weather setting. So you had that great opportunity, but Bills' defense is real, dude. They held the Dolphins to 20 points, which isn't a crazy number to allow, but when you score 48, you as in the Bills, it works. The Bills were just all over the Dolphins, 48-20. Some Dolphins fans are worried that the magic has run out. I don't think so. Dolphins are still awesome, but Bills are still really good. Moving on to the Toilet Bowl at Chicago, it was Broncos and Bears in a 31-28 win for the Broncos in a game where Justin Fields had 335 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, but a game-sealing interception. Bears still lost that game because they allowed they were up 21-7 at one point, and then in the second half they allowed 7 points in the third and then 17 in the fourth. Dude, they choked it, and it was awesome. Bears 0-4. I love it. However, my resident Bears fan, Angelo Gruppito, does not. I don't have a quote from him this week, but yeah, it's not looking good for the Bears. Still not really looking good for the Broncos because it was against the Bears, and even you could say the Bears' offensive success, it was against the Broncos who just got 70 put on them, so it's a toilet bowl game. Flush it down. Ravens beat the Browns 28-3. I didn't expect this one. I thought the Browns defense was going to hold strong, but Lamar did his thing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, I'm pretty sure. Titans beat the Bengals 27-3. Bengals are 1-3, and it does not look good. They seem screwed with an injured Joe Burrow. And Derrick Henry has now more passing touchdowns than Joe Burrow. That's hilarious. In overtime, the Rams, they beat the Colts in a walk-off touchdown with a walk-off touchdown to Puka Nacua, who is awesome and is on record or is on pace for a bunch of receiving records in a single season. And it's weird. The top 2 receivers or top 2 seasons of receivers in a single season is by Matthew Stafford. Weird. So potentially, I mean, Cooper Kupp's coming back next week for the Rams, so I'm not sure Puka is going to be continuing this production just off of like target share, but Stafford makes record-setting receivers. It's facts. So they beat the Colts 29-23 in overtime. Bucks are 3-1. They beat the Saints 26-9. I didn't expect this one. Baker Mayfield is having himself a good time in Tampa, and so are the Bucks. Commanders almost beat the Eagles in overtime, but the Eagles still remain undefeated, 34-31. Eagles still look weird, but they're still undefeated as well. Vikings get their first win against the Panthers, 21-13. Steelers, I don't know what's happening, but 30-6 against the Texans, not looking good. Chargers and Raiders. Chargers almost sacrificed the game again, but it still worked. 24-17, Chargers win. And the Cowboys demolish the Patriots 38-3. Oh, wait, there's still more. 49ers do their thing against the Cardinals, 35-16. Chiefs barely beat the Jets, who have had a bit of a resurrection, 23-20. Chiefs win that one. It was a good game for Zach Wilson. I'm very happy about that. And Monday night, Giants look awful against the Seahawks. Daniel Jones sacked 10 times. Seahawks win 24-3. So that is week 4 of the NFL.